Today on our Vaishnav calendar is a festival day. And this is the festival. Panihati Chida Dahi Festival. Now you three girls, you're in the front row, so I'm going to ask you some questions. Here's an easy one. What is dahi? You don't know? Dahi. Yogurt. Yeah. And what is chira? Chira. Flat rice. Flat rice. Flat rice and yogurt festival. And where is Panihati? Panihati is a very nice place. If you visit Mayapur and you go along the Ganga towards Calcutta, you'll find Panihati along the Ganga on your right as you're heading towards Calcutta. It's close to, not far, to, it's not a far distance from Calcutta. Not a big city, but it's a nice place. And it's a place where this festival occurred. And the central personality in this festival is Raghunath Das Goswami. On our way over, I asked, who is Raghunath Das Goswami? Remember? One of the 6 Goswamis. Fantastic. So let's find out a little bit about Raghunath Das Goswami's life. These are the years that he lived, and he is younger than Lord Chaitanya. In fact, amongst the 6 Goswamis, he's one of the youngest amongst the 6 Goswamis. And for 31 years, he lived not in Lord Chaitanya's association. For 16 years, he lived in Lord Chaitanya's association in Puri. And for another 45 years, he lived in Vrindavan. So there's the math. He lived until he was 92 years old. And he was so devoted to Krishna, so devoted to Lord Chaitanya, so devoted to Vrindavan, so devoted to Radharani. And he wrote books about it. We're going to see shortly about the books he wrote about it. But the focus is going to Panihati Festival. There's a book written by Kavi Karnapur called Gora Gonodesh Deepika, which is basically a who's who. People in Lord Chaitanya's Leela, who are they in Krishna's Leela? Now, why do we do that? Here's why. One of the reasons why we do that. There's a nice verse in Brahma Samhita. Many of you know the verse. If you know the verse, you can say it with me. Goloka namni nijadamni tale chatasya Devi maheshu haridama suteshu teshu Goloka namni nijadamni tale chatasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So in that verse, it's Brahma speaking. It's Brahma Samhita. And he's speaking of the structure from lower to upper to the topmost of the universe and beyond the universe. So within this universe, there's Devi Dham. And then above Devi Dham is Mahesh Dham. And above Mahesh Dham is Hari Dham. And above Hari Dham is Goloka Dham. And that's the place where Krishna resides. That's what the verse is saying. So where does Lord Chaitanya reside? Does Lord Chaitanya have an eternal abode? Does he live in Haridham? Does he live in Golokadham? What's his eternal abode? The answer is, his eternal abode is in Golokadam, in a region that's called Swetadweep. What does Sweta mean? White. White. Sweta. Sweta means white. Do you know anybody that has that name, Sweta? It's a nice girl's name, Sweta. 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 Dweepa means island. Sweta Dweep. The abode of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Sweta Dweep. Look closely next time you have your first canto Srimad Bhagavatam, and you open up the cover, so you're looking at the illustration of the cover, and you'll see the spiritual sky, which is bluish. Down in the corner of the spiritual sky, there's a cloud. That's where the material energy, that's Devi Dham. In between Devi Dham and the spiritual sky is Mahesh Dham. And then there's the spiritual sky where there's Vaikuntha planets. And over there, there's Goloka. It's shaped like a lotus, right? Look closely next time you have your first canto Bhagavatam. Look closely, and you'll see in the painting, inside the lotus, is Lord Chaitanya and his associates dancing. Because Lord Chaitanya's eternal abode is in Goloka Vrindavan, in the spiritual world. And that portion is Sweta Dweep. It's where Lord Chaitanya eternally resides. So the associates of Lord Chaitanya in Sweta Dweep have their spiritual counterparts in the other part, in the Vrindavan part. I'll say it again. Every one of I'll say it the other way. Every one of Krishna's associates have their counterpart in amongst Lord Chaitanya's associates. Every one of Lord Chaitanya's associates have their counterpart in Krishna's Leela. Isn't that nice? Because whenever Krishna appears, just after Krishna appears, Lord Chaitanya appears, and with Lord Chaitanya comes his associates, who are the counterpart of Krishna's associates in Vrindavan Leela. And they appear with him and engage in pastimes with him. So Raghunath Das is one of those personalities. According to this Gaura Desh Dipika by Kavi Karnapur, Raghunath Das Goswami is a combination of Rasa Manjari, Rati Manjari, and Bhanumati. Now how that works, it doesn't mean like there's three souls in the same body. It means there's one soul in the body, but there's I forget the Sanskrit term. There's a angsa, a portion of the bhava of that personality in Krishna Leela within him. An expansion, an angsa expansion of their bhava enters into his person. Nice. So, Raghunath Das Goswami, while he's performing Leela, we're going to hear one of those Leelas, or a few of them actually. He's in the mood, at same mood as these two Manjaris. They're dear associates of Srimati Radharani. So here's a nice painting. There's the 6 Goswamis with identification of who's who. And those of you that like reading Prabhupada's books, or maybe you like to hear the recordings of someone reading Prabhupada's books, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the author is pictured here. This is Krishnadas Kaviraj, a painting of Krishnadas Kaviraj writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. By that water there is the site of Radhakund, because that's where he resided. And at the end of every chapter, there's a lot of chapters, every chapter he writes, praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Now, why Rupa Goswami and why Raghunath Das Goswami? Well, Rupa Goswami, amongst the 6 Goswamis, was the senior most. He wasn't senior most in years, but he was the senior most in his erudition, in his scholarship, in his writing. Even his elder brother, Sanatana Goswami, was his elder brother. Sanatana Goswami was the elder brother of Rupa. They're brothers. He looked up, Sanatana Goswami being the elder brother, Rupa looked up to him as the elder brother. But the other 5 accepted Rupa as the superlative amongst them. So that's why Sri Rupa, because we're Rupanugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. And why Raghunath? Well, the answer is, while the other Goswamis, the other 5 Goswamis, were residing in Vrindavan, one of the 6, that's Raghunath Das, was constantly, for 16 years, constantly in Lord Chaitanya's association. Not only he was in Lord Chaitanya's association, he was under the care of Swarup Damodar. And Swarup Damodar is Lalita in Krishna's Leela. So, very elevated personality. He was in the care of, and that means Swarup Damodar was explaining the inner mood and feelings and inner experiences of Lord Chaitanya as he was doing these amazing pastimes. So, Raghunath Das not only saw the pastimes, or experienced the pastimes, but he understood them because of his association with Swarup Damodar. And he did this for 16 years. So while the devotees in Vrindavan were in Vrindavan, for 16 years he was with Lord Chaitanya. After Lord Chaitanya ended his pastimes, Raghunath Das wanted to give up his life because he was so attached to Lord Chaitanya, he couldn't bear being without him. And so what did he do? He went to Vrindavan with the idea of paying his respects to the 6 Goswamis. And then jumping from Govardhan Hill, giving up his life. Rupa understood his mood. Rupa said, you can't do this. You can't do this. Why? Because you've had Lord Chaitanya's association while we've been serving him in separation. So here's an instruction, Raghunath Das. You go reside at Radhakund, and every day for 3 to 4 hours, for 45 years, every day for 3 to 4 hours, recite the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And that's what he did. And in the audience was Krishnadas Kaviraj. Therefore, always desiring the mercy of Rupa and Raghunath, I, Krishnadas, narrate Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. So he's a very important person amongst the 6 Goswamis because he knew the heart. Not only he knew the heart, he knew the pastimes, but he knew the heart of Lord Chaitanya, which he had understood from Swarup Damodar. So he's a very special person. Some of the characteristics of this very special person is he was particularly remembered for his renunciation. It's stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Raghunath Das Goswami was totally uninterested in material enjoyment, even from his childhood. We'll hear some of that childhood pastime shortly, because it has everything to do with the Panihati festival. Here's another quiz question for our adults, because I don't think the kids are going to know the answer to this one. There's three parts of Scripture, three tattvas, or truths, or essences of knowledge. One is understanding the relationship, the other is, next is acting in that relationship, and the third is the mature stage of acting in that relationship with Krishna. Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. So there's the guru, or the teacher, the primary person that represents or gave teachings and instructions on Sambandha, the relationship of all things with Krishna, the source. Who is that person? Sanatana Goswami. And the one who was the principal person to give writings and teachings and everything to do with acting in that relationship, Rupa Goswami. And the Prayojana Acharya is Raghunath Das Goswami. Very advanced person. So Acharya means he who teaches by his own example about Prayojana, the ultimate goal of life. He wrote many books. His main thing wasn't writing. His main thing was other things. But he wrote 4 very well-known books, and we're going to take a look at the first 3 quickly, and then number 4. The first 3 quickly was Stavavali, which literally means many prayers. It was also popularly known by another name, Vraja Vilasa Stava. Vilasa means Vilas, pastimes, right? Vraja Vilas. And Stava means prayers. So prayers about, we're going to show you an example shortly of some of his prayers to Krishna and Radha and Vrindavan. There's another book that he wrote. It's popularly known as the Pearl Pastime. Excuse me. No, this is different. This is the tax pastime. Dana Charita, or Dana Keli Chintamani. It's because Krishna would tax the gopis, and they would have some interesting talks with one another, accusing things and saying, interesting things to one another. Like very spicy, really hot and spicy. And so it's just a nice, very joyful book, Krishna's tax pastimes. And Mukta Charita is popularly known as the Pearl Pastime. So sometime we could narrate the Pearl Pastime. It's very wonderful, but that's not tonight. Here's a copy of the cover of Stavavali, and here's an excerpt. There's a subsections, Vilapa Kushamanjali, where Raghunath Das is writing 104 prayers specifically to Radharani. Oh, restless-eyed girl, your lake, that's Radhakund, right? Your lake, because he's residing by the side of Radhakund. That's where he lived for 45 years. Your lake is the eternal home of you and your beloved. My residence is there. There I stay. Very short, very simple. He's just very focused on Radharani and Radhakund and the relationship between Radha and Krishna, but he's very, very focused, completely focused. So little short, simple, sweet prayers. This painting is a pastime at Radhakund. And the 4th book is Manah Shiksha. I changed my mind. I was thinking that tomorrow evening I would do an introduction to Manah Shiksha. The reason I was thinking to do the introduction is because today is the Panihati festival. So to give you a glimpse at what Manah Shiksha is, I thought to speak about it, at least the introduction to it. But I decided to do something else. Well, tomorrow it's something else. This is the first for just to give you a taste. He wrote commentary. It's not long, but it's very dedicated to Krishna. Oh, it's Manah Shiksha, instructions to the Manah. Manah means mind. Shiksha means instructions. Shiksha. Like Shiksha Guru. Shiksha means instructions. So Manah Shiksha is he's instructing his mind. Oh, my uncomprehending inner self. My dear brother mind, I humbly prostrate myself before you, taking hold of your feet, I beseech you, please, give up all pride and surrender fully to Sri Guru, the spiritual abode of Vrajadam, to the residents of Braja, to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, to the Sattvika Brahmanas, to the holy name of the Supreme Lord, and to the ever-fresh and youthful divine couple of blossoming beauty, Sri Radha and Krishna, and in this way, quickly develop sublime attachment to them, meaning Radha Krishna. So this book is a treatise on Ragamarg, the path of spontaneous devotion, because that's where he was, and he's writing a book to help people understand what it is and how to get there. It's a very wonderful book. Just to give some idea of the platform of devotion that he was on, Rupa Goswami, who was a dear associate of Raghunath, Rupa Goswami had just written Lalita Madhava. So he requested Raghunath Das to read it, and if he had some comments, to comment. So he was happy to do that service, read Rupa Goswami's fresh copy of Lalita Madhava. So he started reading it. However, the pastimes in Lalita Madhava have a lot to do with the feelings of separation between the gopis, particularly Radha, but the gopis and Krishna. Feelings of separation were too much. Too much. He couldn't bear it. Raghunath couldn't bear it. He was leaving his body because of intense emotion, of feelings of separation, empathizing, feeling the separation of the gopis for Krishna. So that word got to Rupa Goswami. So he thought, uh-oh. So he asked for the book back. He said, I want to do some rewriting. Give me the book back. I'm going to give you another book. You can read this other book because it's full of laughter and fun and joy and all those nice things. It's also a tax pastime. Dana means charity or tax. Voluntary or involuntary, giving to others. So dana is a tax pastime. Dana Keli Kaumudi. And he was reading and reading and reading, and he enjoyed it so much, all his sorrow was gone. And he liked it so much he wrote his own book on tax pastimes. There's a very nice I spent some time today putting together, polishing a little document on how our acharyas get these realizations. What's the foundation? What's the scriptural foundation, basis and support for Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami to write pastimes of Krishna that's not found in the Bhagavatam? But how do they get that realization? So, I'll remember, because I sent a copy already to, because this topic came up during our time together in Gita Nagari. So I sent a copy to Vrindanath. So I'll send a copy to all of you in a PDF format, because you'd have to There's all kinds of diacritics in this. But there's 6 different references that give scriptural explanation and verification, validation of acharyas getting realization. And it's very elevated, but Raghunath Das was very elevated. So he actually experienced within his heart the tax pastime that he wrote down. Very elevated. He's in another realm of bhakti, just to give you a picture of Raghunath Das. As we read, he had this mood in his devotion, his very dedicated Rati Manjari, very dedicated to Srimati Radharani. Yeah. So one time, he had this practice that he would only eat, that's when he's living in Vrindavan, would only eat every other day. And what he would eat every other day was a palmful of buttermilk, or a leaf plate, a leaf cup. Now those of you from India, you will know what leaf cups are. And the kids, you know what leaf cups are? You've seen them? It's just leaves stitched together with a little twig, and it makes the shape of a cup, and you can put stuff in it, and it's a leaf cup. So one of his disciples brought him some sweet rice that looks like this in a leaf cup. And it was really nice. And Raghunath Das asked, "Where did you get this? This leaf cup is really big." He said, "Oh, I got it from a particular tree," I forget the name of the tree, Bale tree, I forget the name of the tree, near Sakhi Stali. Raghunath Das took the whole leaf cup and threw it away. "Don't ever bring me anything from Sakhi Stali." Now why is that? Because Sakhi Stali is a place along the western side of Govardhan Hill. Those of you that like Govardhan Hill, how many here have been to Govardhan Hill? Okay, great. And those of you who haven't, please go, and go as many times as you can, and circumambulate Govardhan Hill. And when you circumambulate Govardhan Hill, and you're going on the western side, when you pass the Govardhan town, on the western side, just past it, a little bit past it, is Sakhi Stali. Sakhi Stali means a place where the Sakhis resided, and it's particularly a place where Chandravali resided with her Sakhis. Now there's a particular place where Radharani resided with her Sakhis. And everybody here, is there anybody here that doesn't know where Radharani resided in Vrindavan? Anyone doesn't know? You all know. So if I ask any one of you, you'll know, right? Where did Radharani live? It starts with a V. Varsana. Varsana. So Radha lived at Varsana, and the gopis lived nearby Varsana, the principal gopis. And Chandravali, who was the competitor, Radharani is the left wing, Chandravali is the right wing gopi. And she lived in the Sakhi Stali area. She lived there with her father Chandrabhanu and her mother Indumati. Anyway, without all the details. So she resided there, and she had her head, Padma was her chief assistant, like Lalita, and Vishakha are the chief assistants of Radha. So Padma and Shaibya were chief assistants of Chandravali. And they would compete. I mean, transcendentally, not mundane. So, but Raghunath Das was so absorbed in his mood of serving Radha that even getting a leaf cup that came from a tree that was from Sakistali, threw it away. Don't ever go there again. Don't ever bring me a leaf cup from that place. It's a transcendental emotion. It's not a worldly anything. He's not on that platform. Here's a nice painting. Yeah, this is a palasa tree. That's what it was. Palasa tree. This is a leaf cup, by the way. So this is the painting on the left is Raghunath Das Goswami's practice when he was living in Puri. He was very renounced. You all know this. If you don't know this, even if you know this, you hear it again, it's nice. He was from, we'll hear about it shortly, he was from one of the wealthiest families in India at the time. And he was a landholder, a zamindar, his father and uncle. And so their wealth was taking taxes on behalf of the Pathan king. So very, 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 very wealthy. You know, whatever name you want to come up with, Birla or Tata or something. You know, very wealthy family. Very wealthy family. And he had no interest. We're here because the pastime connected with this evening's festival, the Panihati festival, was his getting the benediction from Lord Nityananda to leave his home and be with Lord Chaitanya. There's a festival that preceded his leaving home and going to be with Lord Chaitanya. So when he went, his father sent guards to find him, couldn't find him. So they waited until it was every year, just before Rath Yatra, the devotees from his area, from Bengal, would take an overland journey to go to Puri to attend Rath Yatra. There's Jagannath Rath Yatra up there. Jagannath Festival. So as they were traveling, Shivananda Sain, another nice devotee, Shivananda Sain, was in charge, and so his father, Govardhan Manjuladhar, was the family name. I want my son back. Well, he's not with us. So they realized he was too late. So they found him in Puri, and they sent so many gold coins and so many servants to assist him once a month. So with that money that he got from his father, he just fed the Vaishnavas. He didn't live a lavish life. He wasn't interested. But he fed the devotees. But after some time, his feeding the devotees stopped. So Lord Chaitanya asked why. What happened to Raghunath Das's meals? He said, he felt really badly. He was taking money from a materialistic person and using it to feed the devotees. So he stopped. He won't accept the money from his father anymore. Oh, very good. In other words, degrees of renunciation. So what does he do? He goes in front of the Jagannath temple, and when the priests come out of the Jagannath temple, he begs something of Jagannath Prasad from the priests to come out of the Jagannath temple. Oh, very good. At the Lion's Gate, the main entrance exit. So he did that for a while, then he stopped. So if he stopped, then how's he eating? He goes to the stall where they have food for poor people, and he accepts some alms from those stalls, the prasad stalls of Jagannath. He did that for a while, then he stopped. So how's he getting his meals? This is what this painting is. He goes to the place by the side of the Jagannath temple, and that place is still there, where when the food that's at the Jagannath Prasad stalls rots, and it's no longer edible, they take it over to the side and throw it there for the cows to eat. And after the cows eat, there's some part that's so spoiled they won't eat it. He takes that washes it. And inside the kernels of rice, there's some uncooked rice, and that's what he eats after washing it. What the cows won't eat, that's his food. That's what this painting is showing. Very, very renounced. And according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, his disciplines of regulative practices, he's at this topmost stage, yet at the same time his regulations were like that of lines in a stone. Here's another little reference. Even when he became so old that he could not get back up again after paying obeisances to the deities at Radhakund, he would continue to do so daily. That is, he'd go to see the deities, and he was so old he couldn't get back up, so persons picked him up and said, you just pay obeisances like this because you can't get back up again. He'd smile and he'd go on to the next place and pay obeisances because he had this vrata. Obeisances the deities 100 times every day, different temples. 200 obeisances to the Vaishnavas. Now how is this? He's such a renunciate, such a sadhu, such a perfected soul. When people would see him, they'd pay obeisances. So what did he do? He paid obeisances. Every day, 200 times. He kept track. I don't know how he kept track. He had an abacus or something. Counter beats or something. And every day, 64 rounds. And every day reciting Gaura Lila 3 to 4 hours every day. Every day doing all these different things. Here's Srila Prabhupada speaking in a room conversation. Raghunath Das showed how to live in Radhakund. He was circumambulating Radhakund, falling down, making a mark. That is Radhakund Vasi. Not only counted holy names, but offering obeisances so many hundreds of times. So much vairagya he showed. He can take bath in Radhakund. First of all, do this. That Raghunath Das Goswami, and this was about, is it okay to bathe in Radhakund? First become qualified. So you've seen, these are Vaishnavas, they have a rock, and they reach out as they're paying their obeisances, place the rock, then stand up, go to where the rock is, put their feet where the rock is, pick up the rock, pay obeisances, stretch out, put the rock down. So Dandavat's parikrama. People would do this. Sometimes, as is shown here, around Radhakund, sometimes around Govardhan, sometimes. And sometimes they have 108 rocks when they're doing Govardhan Parikrama. It's really amazing. So that's a little bit about his personality. Now, he, as was mentioned, he was from the Majumdar family. The Majumdar family not only were very wealthy, they're very pious. And as they were very pious, they had a guru. Yadunandana Acharya was the name of their guru, family guru. And Yadunandana Acharya was a disciple of Advaita Acharya. You all know who is Advaita Acharya. So Yadunandana Acharya was his disciple, one of his disciples. And he had also received mercy from Vasudev Datta. Who's Vasudev Datta? Vasudev Datta is a very advanced devotee, very, very, very great devotee, that Vasudev Datta prayed to Lord Chaitanya to deliver all the living entities in the universe. I know that you're powerful and you can do this, and if you feel that people are too sinful, then kindly transfer all the sins, all the reactions of their sins to me. I'll birth after birth accept the sinful reactions. You just please deliver them. This is Vasudev Dutt, very, very compassionate. So he, Yadunandana Acharya, was a recipient of the mercy of Vasudeva Datta, and he was a disciple of Advaita Acharya. And Yadunandana Acharya had a disciple named Balaram Acharya. And both were residents not far, very close to the Majumdar, where the Majumdar family lived. And so, because of that closeness and because of the elevated quality of Balaram Acharya and Yadunandana Acharya, regularly Raghunath, as a young boy, would go pay them a visit. And as fate would have it, circumstance would have it, divine arrangement would have it, one time when he visited Balaram Acharya, who should he meet but Haridas Thakur? Some of you know the history. If you don't, there was a period of time when Haridas Thakur was a guest in the home of Balaram Acharya and Yadunandana Acharya, very near to the Majumdar family. There's some further details, but specifically, one time when Haridas Thakur was visiting, also Raghunath Das visited the home of his guru, and there he met Haridas Thakur. So how did his bhakti begin? Well, he was very inclined, but his pure devotion began by the contact with Haridas Thakur. And that was a seed that grew and grew and grew. In course of time, he had two direct associations with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu before he went to Puri. And the first time was when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Shantipur after taking sannyas. Lord Chaitanya accepted sannyas, right? How old was he when he accepted sannyas? 24. That's pretty young to take sannyas. But when he took sannyas, Nityananda tricked him, and instead of going to Vrindavan, Nityananda tricked him to go to Shantipur. And when he reached Shantipur, Raghunath Das also happened to visit, because Raghunath Das, his family, was accepted as their family guru, Yadunandana Acharya, whose guru was Advaita Acharya. So he was paying a visit to Advaita Acharya, and there he met Lord Chaitanya. How nice. So he met Lord Chaitanya. And Advaita Acharya, being very affectionate to Raghunath Das, young boy, very affectionate, very devotional, he made arrangements to get Mahaprasadam from Lord Chaitanya's plate, and gave the Mahaprasadam of Lord Chaitanya to Raghunath Das Goswami for that period of time that he stayed in Shantipur every day. Then, when he was 19, he met Lord Chaitanya again. So this means he's still young, quite young, but when Lord Chaitanya was traveling to Vrindavan, means Lord Chaitanya was a little older than Raghunath Das, not much, a few years older. He went to Vrindavan but took a little detour. He went to meet Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami at Ramakeli. It's a long story, but just for purposes of keeping it short, he passed through Shantipur on his way to see Raghunath Das. After meeting Raghunath Das and Rupa Goswami, after meeting Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, he was heading back to Puri. He stopped at Shantipur, and he met him for the second time. And when he met him for the second time, Raghunath, who had zero interest in material opulence, minus. No interest in material opulence. And that's what his family wanted for him and of him, because he was the only son. His father and uncle had only one son. And he was to inherit all this vast, vast, vast wealth. No thanks. No interest at all. In fact, he had only one interest, and that was to be with Lord Chaitanya. So he pleaded, get me out of this situation. Please allow me to be with you. So what did Lord Chaitanya say? He didn't say, fantastic, get my suitcase, let's go. He said something else, very interesting. Calm yourself and return home. Don't be foolish. It takes time to cross the ocean of material suffering. Don't make a show of monkey renunciation. Markata vairagya. Simply for other people's benefit, enjoy the worldly life in a moderate way, without attachment. Sound familiar? Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunchita. Rupa Goswami's teachings about how to live your life. Anasaktasya, without attachment to what? Vishaya, sense enjoyment. That's what Vishaya means. So, live in the worldly life in a moderate way without attachment. Be fixed on Krishna internally while externally dealing with the world in an appropriate fashion. It will not be long before Krishna delivers you. Interesting answer. And the answer gave the opportunity for Raghunath Das, so he went back and he followed the instruction. And the instruction was, live in a moderate way. And what happened was, there's a Chaduri who's the intermediary between the king and the landholders. And he's a middleman. And what he was supposed to do was to go to the landholders, take their taxes, and give it to the king and keep something. You follow? Should I say it again? You got it. There's the king. It's like he's the king. The king gave permission or authority to landholders to be in charge of land, and they would take taxes from the people that occupied the land. And then this Chaduri was his middleman. The Chaduri would go from landholder to landholder to landholder, take their taxes and keep something. But the Majumdar family, they're very smart. They made an arrangement where they would pay the money directly to the king. They cut out the middleman. Oh, he didn't like it. So he came one time to their home with the plan to arrest them because they weren't paying him their taxes. When the Chaduri was heading for their home, his father and uncle heard he's coming, so they left town. So when the Chaduri came to their home, there was Raghunath, young man, maybe 19, maybe 20 years old, young man, the son of Govardhan Majumdar, and he wanted to arrest Raghunath Das. And Raghunath Das said they're not home. But he spoke in such... The dialogue is written in Chaitanya Charitamrita because Krishna Das heard it from Raghunath, how he spoke to the Chaduri. He softened his heart so eloquently. He said, you and my father are about the same age, so you're like my uncle. So he started calling him whatever the local language is for uncle. So, uncle, surely I will see that you get the money, but we don't have all that money right now. I'll give you what I have, so many conch shells or whatever it was, and I'll see that you get the rest. Is that okay? And he did it so diplomatically this angry, wanted to have his father and uncle arrested. He didn't want to have Raghunath arrested. He wanted to have his father and uncle arrested. He started to cry. It says tears were streaking down his beard, because this guy doesn't have a beard, but the Chiduri had a beard. A Turkish representative of the king. So but the point is, he showed that he knew how to do diplomacy and politics and, deal with the material energy. He wasn't an incompetent person. He was very skilled. He just had no interest in it. So after some time, although Lord Chaitanya had given him the instruction to go back, it takes time, he started to get restless again. So he tried to leave in this way and that way. His father sent guards to find him, brought him back. And so many times this happened that Raghunath Das's mother said, "I think our son has gone mad. Can you do something? Can you at least just tie him up with ropes?" And this is right from Chaitanya Charitamrita. He has as much wealth as Indra, the king of the gods, and his wife is as beautiful as the heavenly courtesans. If these things have not been able to capture his spirit, then how will mere ropes be able to do so? The father who gives life to a child cannot interfere with the effects of his previous lives' actions. Chaitanya Chandra has given his blessing to this boy who can keep prisoner one who has been made mad by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The very next day, he had an idea. Super Soul gave him an idea. The very next day, he heard that Lord Nityananda was visiting in Panihati. So he wanted to get the mercy. His spiritual understanding was, I can't get the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So if I get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, I can get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. It was his realization. So he went to visit Lord Nityananda at Panihati. And Panihati was the residence of one very celebrated leading Vaishnava in Panihati named Raghava Pandit. So when he went, Raghunath Das, young, went to Panihati. He was watching the activities of Lord Nityananda with his associates. The big assembly, many people. You know what it's like, crowds of people. But he was just watching from a distance, in awe at the potency and the effulgence of Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda spotted him. They hadn't met before, but he spotted him in the assembly of people, and he ordered, have him brought here immediately. This is Raghunath Das. So he brought him, and he said, like a thief, you don't come near me, but simply try to run away. Now that I've caught you, I shall punish you. He's funny like that. Wasn't going to punish him. But the punishment was seva for the Vaishnavas. That's not punishment, that's an honor. And I want you to feed all my followers chip, rice, and yogurt. This is the festival. The Chida Dahi festival. So then he indicated two kinds. There's chip rice with condensed milk, chip rice with yogurt. And so, having wealth, Raghunath Das bought up all the yogurt and all the condensed milk, and mixed it with chipped rice and stirred it up and put it in big pots and started distributing the prasad, after, of course, offering to Krishna. And there was kirtan, and there was prasad distribution. The description is fantastic. There were so many people, they couldn't all fit. So some of them got up to their waist in Ganges water and ate with 2 cups. And chipped rice with yogurt, chipped rice with condensed milk. And kirtan became very, very ecstatic, and this nice painting shows the big pots. He got more pots because more people came. More ingredients, mixed it, offered it. Lord Chaitanya personally came. Lord Chaitanya personally came. I mean, there's a particular term, an expansion. Lord Chaitanya expanded himself and came because it was such a nice festival. And there you see the 2 lords pushing chipped rice and yogurt and condensed milk and yogurt into each other's mouth, laughing, and there the Vaishnavas seeing and enjoying. And then after all the prasad was distributed, there was massive sankirtan. Then we see the pots by the side, their devotees that are sannyasis with their dandas, and some half immersed in the Ganges river. Big crowd of people. And when that part of the festival was over, Raghunath Das came before Lord Nityananda, and prostrating himself before Lord Nityananda, he prayed, "I'm the lowest of men, the most sinful, fallen, and condemned. Nevertheless, I desire to attain the shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like a dwarf that wants to catch the moon, I've tried my best many times, but I've never been successful. No one can attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without your mercy. Although I am unfit and greatly afraid to submit this plea, please be especially merciful toward me by granting me shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." That he submitted to Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda put his foot on his head. Raghunath emotionally asked Nityananda through Raghava Pandit how could he possibly gain freedom from his material entanglements and obtain the association of Mahaprabhu. Nityananda, the ocean of mercy, placed his feet, this shows foot, but it says feet, on Raghunath Das's head, and said, "You arranged this feast on the banks of the river, and Mahaprabhu was merciful to you and came here himself to enjoy it. He blessed you by accepting the offering of chipped rice and yogurt. Then, after watching the devotees dancing, he took prasad in the evening. Lord Gauranga came here just to deliver you, and now he has removed any impediments which remained. He will turn you over to Sarup Damodar." He's like telling what's coming events. "He will turn you over to Sarup Damodar, and, making you his confidential servant, he will keep you by his side. Go home now and forget your worries. You will soon be able to go to the Lord without any difficulty." And he tried and tried and tried and tried, and unsuccessful. Now he's getting the word from Nityananda. He has Nityananda's blessings, and he's giving, the future events. You'll be with the Lord in Puri. He'll place you in the care of Sarup Damodar again. Sarup Damodar understood confidentially everything of Lord Chaitanya's emotions, everything, and taught Raghunath Das everything. He was a good receptacle and a good transmitter, good receiver and good transmitter. And that's what's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, this very profound understanding of Lord Chaitanya's mood and his pastimes. So feeling blessed and relieved, he went back. This is just about to end. There's only one more slide. What happened was, Yadunandan Acharya was responsible for taking care of the deity worship. And Yadunandan Acharya was in anxiety because the pujari, for some reason, was unable to do the puja in the next morning. So he was going around at night looking for a proper replacement for the pujari that couldn't make it the next morning. Raghunath Das thought, now's my chance. So he lied. And we don't know what happened with the deity, but he said, I'll take care of it, you can go take rest. It's late at night. And he is a competent young man. He's already shown he's very, very competent. I'll take care of it. So he went to take care of it. And Yadunanda Acharya took rest, and he thought, now's my chance. So he snuck away in the middle of the night. And for 12 days, it's described, he didn't go on the common path, he went to some other path. When his father saw he was missing, he sent for him, looking for him, couldn't find him, because he went on some other path. And he traveled for 12 days without eating, meditating on being with Lord Chaitanya. He's very renounced. He managed. 12 days is a long time to fast. But in doing so, there's a whole explanation in Chaitanya Charitamrita where trickery has its place. And from our sampradaya and other sampradayas, there's nice examples. But I'm not going to go there because this is the last slide. This is the Panihati festival, or the Chida Dahi festival at Panihati, which we're celebrating today. It's centered around Raghunath Das Goswami, and through the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he served the Vaishnavas, he got everything. He got an opportunity to serve the Vaishnavas. He got Lord Chaitanya's association, he got Lord Nityananda's association, and all his obstacles that were impeding the successful journey all the obstacles that were impeding the successful journey to be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were overcome. So now this young devotee is going to help us by bringing the microphone around to whoever would like to discuss some topic. As I said 2 days ago, we spent some time discussing Gangamata Goswamini and Baladev Vidyabhusan. This is Raghunath Das Goswami. It's lovely and very enlivening and very purifying. I mean, you're spending with me just whatever it's been, 1 hour. I spent a few hours. It's absorbing. It's purifying. So let's see if there's some discussion. What's up? Everything's okay? Okay, good. In the back?
Just very thankful, Maharaj, for this such a nice pastime. There's no question from my side. I just like to comment that for the pleasure of devotees, we try to cook dahi chida, so you can celebrate Panihati festival.
Oh, nice.
With the blessings, Maharaj, we can.
Have you done it before? Have you ever made it before, or is it the first?
We done it, Maharaj. My wife, she knows something earlier about it, so we tried dahi chida today.
Oh, okay. You answered my question. So it's not just an experiment.
It was tried, Maharaj.
It is the first time?
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Are you from Orissa?
No, Maharaj. We just have this pending very old painting. It was gifted.
It's a nice painting.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes, over here.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Maharaj, I want to understand the mood of Raghunath Das Goswami when he is in Puri and his father is sending money and he is using it to feed the devotees. Why he is considering that as a incorrect thing to do? Because
It can be correct, it can be incorrect. The mood was a mood of renunciation. And it just was like an extreme mood of renunciation. Supposing it wasn't so extreme, is it okay? It's okay. His mood of renunciation was it wasn't okay.
okay,
You know, it coming from a worldly person, he was thinking of his materialistic father as a worldly person, and taking from a worldly person to feed the Vaishnavas, it's not good. So he refused to take the gold coins. It's just renunciation. His abject, extreme renunciation. Let me look what he did. He's the son of one of the wealthiest families in India, standing at the gate of the Jagannath temple, asking for alms from the pujaris, etc. I mean, he's extreme, radical.
thank you, Maharaj. That's just the mood.
Yeah, it's
This
his mood. It's his mood.
Okay, thank you.
Here we go in the front.
So like when Raghunath Acharya was like tricked
Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami. Your father said Raghunandans. Raghunath Das Goswami tricked Yadunandana Acharya.
yeah like
We don't do that.
yeah, but like isn't tricking bad? Like
Yeah, it's bad. So are there circumstances when it's good? Yes. So we don't do, because we're not such elevated persons, we can discriminate between when it's good and when it's not good. For us, it's not good. But there are circumstances.
okay, thank
The
you.
higher purpose, I mean, I didn't cover this. Maybe I could. I'll do it. Yeah, there's a nice example. I'm going to do it because your dad likes Sri Vaishnavism. There's a nice example in Sri Vaishnavism where one of the acharyas did like that. Do you know the story? You don't know the story? You're sure you know the story. As soon as I start narrating it. Let me just go to... Turamangai. Here's, okay, I don't have this name. He was on the platform of Shuddha Bhakti. And not only that, he's an eternal associate in Braja. So, what is at the heart of a Shuddha Bhakta, the hearts of a Shuddha Bhakta, is that Krishna alone should be pleased. Anukulyena. Here is Tirumangai Alvar. You know the story. Tirumangai and his 4 disciples became a gang of robbers. Because they wanted to build a temple for Ranganath, but people were miserly. So he had associates who had mystic powers. His first disciple, Tarka Chudamani, would entangle the materialists in the net of argument. The second disciple, Dvara Unmochaka, would then open the door of the treasury house. Third disciple, Chayagraha, then made everyone motionless. And his fourth disciple, Jolo Parichara, entered the palaces that were surrounded by deep moats and plundered all their wealth. And with that, he built the temple. Now, we don't do those things. We're not on that platform. We don't have mystic powers either. But his purpose was a Shuddha Bhakta purpose. This fellow Chayagraha means whoever was touched by his shadow became immobile. And Jalo Parichara is one who can walk on water. So they built the Ranganath temple by stealing. And, it's pretty elaborate. There's some nice paintings, photographs of the carvings and inside, etc., etc. There's a similar example. Okay, but that's sufficient. So, if one is on the platform of Shuddha Bhakti, that is, there's no purpose, interest, anything squeaky clean, there's only just serving the Supreme Lord, then there's another classic example. What's the other classic example? Is Krishna asking Yudhisthira to tell a lie. We don't tell lies. And Yudhisthira never told a lie. And Krishna said, tell a lie. There was a purpose. So there's a rule and there's a rare exception. And Raghunath Das did the right thing. We don't do those things because we don't have that sense of purpose. And there's probably other ways to accomplish it besides some purpose like that. But he did what he did.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Nandanacharya is not his guru.
It's his guru's guru, his Parama Guru.
Mm-hmm. And who was his guru, Maharaj?
Balaram Acharya. Balaram Acharya.
So, we don't hear so much about him.
We don't. That's correct.
But he did get knowledge from him.
We don't hear much, as you said. Something must be, but we don't. Any detail, I can't provide you because it's not provided to me.
Okay, Maharaj.
Something.
Yeah.
Balaram Acharya is the one who invited Haridas Thakur to stay at his home. So he was a Vaishnava. And he wasn't, it was not I'm a Brahmana, so I can't have someone like Haridas Thakur stay at my home because he's not a Brahmana. He was a Vaishnava. He was a Vaishnava Brahmana, and a very elevated one. And enough so that Haridas was attracted, and he was attracted to Haridas. So he's an elevated person. So the details of what the exchange between Raghunath and Balaram Acharya was, There's nothing written, at least that I'm aware of. So, something.
Yeah.
Maharaj, Raghunath Das Goswami's, the way that he is that because of he is none other than Rasika Manjari
Yes.
and Rati Manjari and so forth, is that the reason that he is able to follow such an austerity, or naturally is like that, and other things add on to what his nature is, Swabhava is?
We don't hear anything about Rati Manjari or Rasa Manjari being exceptionally austere. We hear of Raghunath Das being exceptionally austere. So your question is it because of being a Manjari that he was exceptionally austere, or is it his character and personality to be exceptionally austere? It's the second one. And the angsa, or the expansion of the mood of these two manjaris that are within him, enabled him or assisted him or brought about the mood of intense devotion to Srimati Radharani, which is not the mood of specifically necessarily of extreme renunciation. It was his nature. Simultaneously born in a super rich family and having no attraction for it. But step by step, the awakening of his bhakti came. The renunciation was already there. Mood of being uninterested in worldly things was already there. A nice comment. His father said, if a father can't, what can a father do if the son has a particular, many lifetimes tendency towards something? And what to speak, he's gotten the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, so what can I do? Tying him up won't help. He's already got good ropes, wealth, and beautiful wife. What good a worldly rope's going to do? So, it's just his nature. You have something.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj, you also mentioned Bhanumati. Who is Bhanumati, Maharaj?
I don't know much about that person, but you can look it up and report to us tomorrow. Okay.
Sure, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. This is a clarification, Guru Maharaj. You mentioned that Manah Shiksha book teaches about Ragamarg
Yes.
for us.
Yes.
So what we practice is Vaidhi Marg,
Yes.
Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti.
However, those who are followers of Rupa Goswami are on the path of Ragamarg. Even when they're doing sadhana, it leads to raga. There are persons that do sadhana that doesn't lead to raga because that's not the line in which they find themselves. But the path of Mahaprabhu is the line of Ragamarg. So even the sadhana leads to, if done nicely, in the proper association, etc.
Because in the introduction of that book, there is a mention that there is, Prabhupada's writings not mentioning about, obviously not mentioning about Ragamarg. Mostly it's Vaidhi, but we should aspire for Ragamarg. And
Well, we are already because we're followers of Rupa Goswami. Say it the other way. Being a follower of Rupa Goswami leads us to the Ragamarg. If we do it nicely. Now, it shouldn't be prematurely, and we shouldn't, it shouldn't be the pendulum, too much this way, too much that way. We follow Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti properly. And we follow Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti properly, we become purified. We become purified, then through the association of Rupa Goswami and the other associates, we get to hear teachings that lead us to that spontaneous stage. So don't worry about it. Don't split hairs, please.
thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Anything on this side? Okay. Thank you very much. And the Prabhupada ki jai.